Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie and today I am doing a video about the books that I wish I had read in 2020. Now, as the title suggests, these are the books that I wish I had read this year, but that I didn't get to. So it is a long list of books. I'm hoping to maybe read one or two of them before the end of the month, but we'll see. Some of these books are really popular, and some of these books I haven't really heard talked about on Goodreads, but these were all books that I was very excited to either buy or they were new releases that I was super stoked for. So the first one of these books is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is an adult fiction novel and it is actually pretty popular in BookTube. The cover is gorgeous and I think the UK cover is also really stunning. I actually bought this in Salem and it's about the main character whose mother is proclaimed to be a witch, and the town thinks that her daughter, which is the main character, is kind of weird and witchy as well. And the dark wood, which is the woods around the town, start calling to her, and thus begins kind of our story and the adventure and the witchiness. It seems really creepy and really eerie and definitely one of those classically witchy Salem type of stories, and I am so excited to have this book. It's not only is it beautiful and stunning, but it just sounds like a really great fiction read. So the next one is one that I had heard about and bought but never got to, and that is the stunning book called The Harm Tree by Rose Edwards. Now this book is obviously a fantasy book because I friggin' love fantasy, but it is a book about a war that tore the nation apart, and now I guess the nation's at peace, but all the old beliefs have been outlawed. And these two girls who work together have differing ambitions. One is dreaming of the glorious old gods, and one just misses her family. But as they're working, someone in the village dies, and one of the girls is given a message to relay and their paths separate, and so that's where our story begins. And it just seems like there's a lot of adventure, there's some political intrigue, and there is some darker parts in the novel. I can't remember if this is YA or if it's adult. I think it's maybe new adult, something in between, but it sounds really good and it's really beautiful. Really nice floppy paperback too. The next one I know we've all heard about, and it is The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't actually read one of Leigh Bardugo's books yet, and I was thinking maybe I should start with the Shadow and Bone trilogy instead of starting with Ninth House, but I might just go ahead and start with this one. This is her first foray into adult fantasy, and it sounds really intriguing. It's set at Yale in a secret magical society that Yale has and that this girl starts to uncover. So it kind of takes us deeper into the dungeons of Yale. And Yale is a university in America that's actually already well known for its secret societies and secret factions. So this just takes that to a whole other level. So I'm really excited about this one. I've heard definitely mixed reviews, but I couldn't say no to this stunning cover. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. And of course, I'm hoping that the book is good too. So this next book sounds really incredible, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet, because I purchased this in the beginning of the year with absolutely every intention of reading it ASAP, and then that never happened. And that is The Binding by Bridget Collins. I don't know if this was popular on BookTube. I can't remember it being that way, but I know that it was popular in other book forums. And it's about this world where people have vocations as bookbinders, and if there's a memory that you want to keep, store, or erase, the bookbinders will help you do that. And they have rows and rows and rows of these books, which are basically people's memories that they can no longer like remember, but they can either revisit or just have completely erased. And the main character who does bookbinding and does take the memories ends up finding a book with his name on it, and that begins the absolute intrigue of the story. And I don't know why I haven't read it. It sounds amazing, and this book has stunning purple edges, and we all know that I'm a sucker for sprayed edges or stenciled edges or like just gorgeous covers. I love all that ish. I love it so much. So a beautiful premise and a beautiful book. I don't know why I haven't read it, but I really need to get to it. The next one I want to read and I've heard a lot about, and it was heavily influenced by a booktuber called Lala and Her Books, which I'm sure that you all know about, and it is Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. Now, I don't know a ton about this. I've heard the summary for this novel over and over again. I've just heard that it's a novel that you need to read, so I went and purchased this beautiful floppy copy when it was released, and I believe it was released this year, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. It sounds really good. It's supposed to be really amazing, and I know that Lala really enjoyed it, so I feel like I should at least give it a shot. I know that probably many of you have already read this, but I haven't yet, and I need to. I really need to. So the next book is a book that I was really highly anticipating this year, and I ended up with 3 copies of it. One that I gave away and another one that I anticipate that I need to give away to a friend, which I hope will enjoy. And it's from an author that I really enjoy, and that is Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. I read her Wayward Witch series, I believe it's called, and the first book in that series is called Bruja Born, and I read the first 2 and the 3rd one came out this year, and I haven't gotten to that one yet, but I've heard really amazing things about her writing and the rest of her books, and I've heard mixed things about this book. So I haven't gotten into it, but basically our main character was saved by these rebel spies to the crown years ago, and now she's a rebel among them. And this boy that she's really grown to love gets, I think, kidnapped by the crown, and so she infiltrates court in order to maybe try and save him. But she uncovers these secrets in royal court, which have the ability to take down the empire, and thus begins our story. And it sounds really amazing. It's really gorgeous. I love the cover art for this, and it is a YA novel from what I understand. It does give me pause that there were mixed reviews on an author that I really love, but I still want to go ahead and read it to see what my own opinion would be about it. If any of you did get to reading this, definitely let me know. I want to know what other folks' opinions are that I might know a little bit better. The next book is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. If anyone knows me, they know that I love the Broken Earth series from N.K. Jemisin. I think that her writing is absolutely masterful, and she is pretty much my favorite author. I am planning on reading her Inheritance series next year, and I do have all 3 copies, and I'm so excited. But I also have The City We Became, and I think this one's a signed copy, which I feel so lucky to have. This one sounds interesting, but it does sound different than her other series, because her other series I believe are more high fantasy, and this one borders more on magical realism in contemporary New York, and maybe even a little bit sci-fi-y, but these people start waking up and they start having these strange and maybe magical symptoms is the best way to describe this, and that's where our story kind of goes to. I don't know where exactly it goes to, because if you've ever read a summary for an N.K. Jemisin book, she's very vague and she gives you like a taste which pulls you in, and that's pretty much how her books are written. Like, it's just a taste, and then you get a little more, and then some more, and then some more, and she masterfully weaves you and leads you through her books with these delicious breadcrumbs. And so I can't get enough of her writing, and I think I have all of the books that she's written so far, and I can't wait for her to read more, because I don't think I'm ever gonna stop supporting her unless she does something horrible, but I can't even imagine that. She's too good. The next book has been on my TBR, I think once or twice this year, but I haven't gotten to it, and I don't know why, because it sounds even more interesting than one of the books that I'm reading right now. The Tea. And it is called Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. Now, this is about mother and daughter soul walkers that obviously can go into someone's soul and walk through it. And the main character, I think her name is Kamai, finds a black door in every soul. And her mother tells her, don't go into that black door, don't open that door, don't do anything. But of course, every time Kamai comes across a black door, she presses her face against it. She's so curious. Eventually, she opens one. So it seems like a fantastical thriller mystery novel, and I'm here for it. I feel like anything fantasy plus some thrill plus some mystery is the recipe to get me to enjoy a book, and it just sounds so good. So the next book has also been on a TBR, but I never got around to it, and that is The 7 Deadly Shadows, co-written by Courtney Alameda and Valine E. Maitani. This is about a girl whose family shrine gets attacked, and I believe it's set in Japan. And so her family shrine gets attacked by this vicious band of demons. So she discovers that in her shrine they have this ancient artifact that is super powerful, and that these demons are trying to steal in order to bring eternal darkness upon the world. And so she enlists the help of these death gods to try to help her against these demons, and she finds out that these death gods have problems of their own, but that she kind of needs to make it work in order to save the world, essentially. And the summary for this I find to be ever so slightly confusing, because I can't completely figure it out. And I think that's something that's pulling me into the book. I've heard other folks talk about this, but only a couple, and it's not that popular on BookTube from what I remember, but I've heard some people talk about it, and they have given some pretty good reviews, and it just seems like a really great novel with a different kind of premise than I've heard before, and one that is set in Japan, which seems amazing because I think that Japanese folklore or anything to do with Japanese folklore always really pulls me in and intrigues me, so that's really exciting. And I think this one's a YA fantasy novel as well. All right, so the last one on my list is a super duper popular one on BookTube, on Book Twitter, on, you know, in the freaking universe. Everyone that reads fantasy has definitely heard of this author and has definitely heard of her YA novels, and this is, I think, her first one in adult fantasy as well, I believe. So I read one of her series this year, and I am starting to read her second series starting this month, so I'm really excited. And that is Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City series, and I think the book is actually called House of Earth and Blood, and this is the Waterstones exclusive book, and it's just, you know, beautiful sprayed edges. Like, what more could I ask, with a beautiful cover? I don't know a ton about this, but from what I've seen, it sounds like a fantasy slash sci-fi novel. It's massive. I'm so excited because I've loved her Throne of Glass series, and I'm reading her Akotar series. I just feel like I'm gonna love this, and I love the smuttiness that she puts in her books. I can't lie, I do. I'm about that. So hopefully there's some of that in here too, especially since it's an adult novel. So you know. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any books that you wish you read this year but didn't get to, leave them down in the comments below. I definitely want to know what you're interested in reading and what you haven't read yet but that you really want to get to. I always love to hear what everyone's reading and what everyone's really enjoying and what they want to read. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for some more end of the year videos. If you like this video, please click the like button down below, and please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video. Thank you.